do indeed. John had a book signing Friday night. We had a great turnout for that. I want to thank all the members of our audience who were there. Those of you who aren't members of the audience, I thank you, but you wouldn't hear me right now or see me thanking you. But it was a great turnout. The Four Seasons was packed in that back room, and John held them captive with great stories about the book and writing and such.
But it was different. It was kind of a different format that I've seen before.
John, if you thought you were going to get a chance to answer when Bill's here,
but I want to compliment both of you. The format was the two of you talking through, you asking questions, John answering questions. I thought it worked extremely well. Good information, kept the audience attention. So well done to both of you.
Well, I thank you. And having done, 1,000 or so of these things over the last 30 years, you're a very good interlocutor, sir. You handled it very well. Four Seasons books, guys, you did a terrific job. And independent bookstores are hard to come by these days, and independent bookstores that know how to handle event are even more rare. We ran them out of chairs.
Yes.
I mean, that just doesn't happen very often.
Standing room only.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, it was wonderful to see. It really was. And you deserve it. Good for you. That was pretty cool. Very, very nice. And thank you for the nice words. I owe half of it to Bill getting me liquored up at the Bavarian before the event, but otherwise I was just me.
And that wasn't tough. What, half of a beer?
Let's say good morning to our guest, Susan Caperton, Executive Director of the Eastern West Virginia Community Foundation. Good morning and welcome in.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, we had you were telling me you were here once before on behalf of CASA.
Correct. I was on their board for a number of years, and I believe it was during the Unity campaign a few of us got together and got to tell CASA's story, so thank you for that.
Yeah, you're absolutely welcome on that. We always enjoy having the CASA folks in here. It's a great organization, a wonderful group of people.
Really
and
is.
They have great leadership there.
I agree.
They do. And the Eastern West Virginia Community Foundation had great leadership under Michael Walton, and then you succeeded him to continue the series of great leaders along there.
Well, thank you. I feel very lucky. Michael was a great leader. For 12 years, he was on the foundation board. Before that, like Michael, I started on the board. I was on for about 7 years and then joined the staff about 2 years ago as associate director. And then when Michael retired, about a year ago, a little over a year ago now, I was fortunate enough to be named his predecessor. So I feel very lucky. We have a great organization. Our staff, our board members, the people we work with, both on the donor side and on the nonprofit side, we just feel so lucky to be doing what we're doing.
Yeah, and I remember, I don't remember her name, but Michael's predecessor.
Amy Owen.
There you go, Amy Owen, yes. And then she left to take a job at another foundation, if I remember. And then Michael took over as the new guy, and it's hard to believe he was there 12 years.
I know, right?
It went by so fast, right?
Yep, and both. Amy did a great job. Amy was the first executive director and really started the organization with the key board members from the community who got together to form the Community Foundation. And she led it, I think, about 12 years as well, maybe a little bit longer, actually, if I'm doing my math correctly. And then Michael came in. We've just had great leadership all the way along. And at each stage of the organization, it's grown so much over the past 30 years. It's our 30-year anniversary this year. So we have a lot to celebrate. It's really a wonderful organization.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
How much in assets do you have under control at this time?
We are currently at about $58 million. So we've had immense growth over the past few years, actually, under Michael's leadership and some other factors that have come together. We've been really lucky to see the fund grow, both in terms of new funds and with our investment and endowment growing. It's been a really, really exciting stretch.
A lot of people deserve credit. Was Doug Roach one of the intellectual founding members of this?
That's correct. And then his son Scott has been on our board for years. Yeah, great.
Susan, let's get the Caperton name taken care of first, because I know we probably have a lot of questions on that in the audience. Your connection to the Caperton name.
So Governor Gaston Caperton is my father-in-law. I married his older son, Gat. We met in Chicago about 34 years ago. We've been married 29 years as of yesterday, actually.
Oh, happy
we've been in
anniversary.
the Eastern Panhandle, thank you, about 30 years now.
And Gat does what now?
He has started out as Tom Seeley Furniture and now goes by Gat Creek. It's a furniture manufacturing company in Berkeley Springs. It's all hardwood, handcrafted, solid wood furniture, signed and dated by the people who build it. It's really beautiful stuff, and they sell all over the country and all over the world.
Yeah, Bonnie and I were out to buy some furniture a few months ago. Went to the local furniture store and looked at several pieces, and the salesman said, now, if you really want the top of the line, the best we go, encourage this piece of furniture. He said it's made local, and it was something made in Gat's furniture store. It is quality furniture.
It is. It's beautiful. And, they've been doing it sustainably and built in the USA, sourced from the USA for decades now, and now it's become trendy. It was great when people started recognizing the need for sustainability more and the need for manufacturing in America, and they've been doing that all along. So it's really beautiful. It's a great group of people out there. We feel really lucky to be a part of it.
We had Gad on a couple of years ago. In fact, I remember talking about the store. John?
I want to talk about the Community Foundation here. I have it up on the website. You give grants?
Correct.
To whom? How do we decide to whom grants are given?
Okay, so our motto is Gather, Grow, Grant, one of our mottos. And we're a nonprofit community foundation, so we're not a typical nonprofit and we're not a typical foundation. So we pool funds from community members, we gather them up, we use those to build our endowment, which is managed by 7 different investment advisors all across the region. We cover Berkeley, Jefferson, Morgan, Hampshire, and Hardy counties, and we have investment advisors all across those counties. As that endowment grows, a portion of the proceeds go back out in the community every year in grants and scholarships. So last year we gave out about $1.4 million in grants and scholarships. I think about 250,000 of those were in scholarships. Otherwise, they're grants to nonprofits across all different service areas across all 5 counties.
And are there categories? Do you target particular categories of business or learning?
Good question. We actually cover a wide spectrum of categories, and we do it through a variety of different funds. We have people who have donor-advised funds with us, where they can request where the grants are going to go, as long as it's to a nonprofit in good standing. We're able to honor that. Typical to like what you would see with a Fidelity or something, but the great thing is everything stays local. And then we also do field of interest grants, which are more subject area based. Like, for example, healthcare, human welfare. We now have veterans grants. That was exciting. We were able to add those a few years ago. Right now we have a grant opportunity for, it's the Detlev Mary Ellen Preisler STEAM grant category that's open right now. And basically we have applications available online. Nonprofits and education groups can apply when we have a grants committee made up of board and community members who review all of the grants and then make the recommendations for the board to approve.
And what are designated funds?
Good question. So,
just so you know, so the audience understands, I see grants for designated funds, donor-advised funds, and field of interest funds are the 3 categories.
Correct. So designated fund is to benefit a specific nonprofit or a specific handful of nonprofits. So, for example, if you were really interested in supporting CASA, for example, as we were talking about earlier, you could start a fund that names CASA as the beneficiary, and then all of the distributions from that fund go for CASA's benefit. The other component of those funds are agency funds, where a nonprofit can start their own fund. For example, if they wanted to start their own fund, they could go ahead and do it, and then we can combine those. Anyone can donate to any of our funds.
And the distribution is controlled in the fact it will remain in perpetuity. And you hold it in escrow for 5 years. Discuss that if you would, please.
So we take a long-term approach to all of our distributions and our endowment, actually. So when a fund is first created with us, we use a 20-quarter average for all of our funds, actually. So it's based on like the 5-year performance of that fund as it grows. So it kind of builds in, as we have market fluctuations, that allows the fund to kind of balance out over the 5 years. So as Bill was saying, for when it starts out with us, it takes about 5 years for it to get fully developed and fully vested, I suppose. And so each year our board meets and we look at all the conditions. Typically for community foundations, the distribution rate that boards will approve is about 4 to 5%. For the past several years, we've been at 5%. We really we believe in getting the money back out in the community, which is at a high end for an organization like ours. We make that available then. The board votes on that in November. Starting in the beginning of the year, all fund holders are notified how much they have available to spend, whether if it's a donor advised fund, we'll say this is your net assets, here's your distribution for this year, here's what's available. And then they have the control over recommending where the grants go. If it's a field of interest, what we'll do is we have, say, a number of funds that benefit youth programs or education programs. We pool all of the distributions from those together to determine how much we are able to give out for that grant category that year.
And Susan, you mentioned kind of in passing that you used 7 financial advisors, and annually you compare one's performance over the other performance to ensure putting competition between all 7. And that result has been quite spectacular.
Thank you. And actually, we have a wonderful investment and finance committee. We meet quarterly with them, and they take a close look at all of the performance across all of our 7 investment advisors. We have great relationships with all 7. They really are across our geographic region. We're in constant communication. When we had so many market fluctuations the past few months, they were in touch with us all along the way to make sure that we're understanding how they were handling it. And it evened out, and actually the last quarter turned out better than I expected, honestly. But it's an ongoing thing to help. We believe in having a local footprint. Since we are geographically based, we're a community organization, we need to be invested in the community. So using the local investment advisors is key to that, not only for putting our faith in them, but then it's an opportunity for them to help bring people to the community foundation and help us continue to grow and do more in the community.
Yeah, let's talk students specifically. And every year you give grants to some of the area students, and the criteria and where the students go and the like. How much money they get and the like.
So our scholarship program is great. Karen Hammond Dunn is our scholarship program manager, and she works with Amy Pancake, who is our associate director and based in Hampshire and Hardy counties, and they do a great job. We have an online application that students go out and fill out. It's a really simple application for them. It still gathers all the information we need that's tailored to our specific scholarship criteria. So we have a number of different scholarship funds that we manage, and each one has its own criteria, whether it's someone going to WVU, it could be a student from Berkeley County, it could be someone studying animal science, whatever the donor, the purpose that they created it for, it all gets filtered out in the application. So as the students answer questions as they're going through the online application, it automatically filters them into whichever scholarships they're eligible for. So Karen goes through it and Amy go through and manage all of that, get it together. We have a great scholarship committee from across all 5 counties that get together and then go scholarship by scholarship and look at what the criteria are, who was the highest scoring student in those areas, and make the recommendations to try to really spread it around as much as possible. So I think this year it's a record number for us. We had, I think, 271 applications, and we'll be giving out about 250,000 in scholarships across the 5 counties.
When does that come back open again?
So it opens back up, I believe, in November or December is when the scholarship application goes live. For all of our grants and scholarships, we really promote them on social media, Facebook, Instagram, as well as on our website. And we have newsletters that go out monthly and bi-monthly sometimes, where we share all of that information because we want people to make sure that they have access to that information and they can apply. We do have a scholarship that's open right now, though. We have, in recent years, we've been able to offer scholarships for continuing ed programs at James Rumsey Technical Institute, and those are open now. We intentionally do those a little bit after the other scholarship cycle. I believe they're open until the end of the month, and the scholarship and the application is available on our website. But that's a great opportunity too. If you know anyone who's doing continuing ed at James Rumsey, they've got some really great programs there. And there's a scholarship it's really easy to fill out. And if they have any questions, our staff is happy to help.
So Susan, if someone has a few dollars they want to invest in the East West Community Foundation, they can do a couple of different ways. At least I think I can. One, look at the existing categories they have available, existing funds they have available, and they can always add to an existing fund. If they want to start a new fund of their own, they have to have a minimum of...
It depends on the type of fund.
Yeah.
And you're correct. Anyone can donate to any of our funds. Our funds are listed on our website, and they can always contact our staff. Everyone's happy to help. If they're interested in starting a new fund, we have different kind of threshold levels. And, someone could start a seed fund where they have time to build it up over the years if they'd like. I think for our field of interest funds, I believe it's $5,000 to have it fully established. For donor advised funds and designated funds, and that goes with agency funds as well, it's $10,000. And then scholarships, it's $20,000 for it to be fully vested and considered fully activated.
By the way, Karen Hammond Dunn said December 1 is the date you were looking for.
Thank you, Karen.
Yeah, she logged on early. She got your back.
Yeah. You mentioned, you mentioned STEAM funds, which I presume is STEM, the new version of STEM.
Science, technology, engineering, arts, and what's the M?
Math.
Thank you. And okay. Rebecca Knight is our grants program manager, and she's wonderful, and she's available. She's happy to help. We get calls all the time during grant season. Grant season for us is year round right now. We've really staggered them out so that we pretty much have a grant going constantly. After as soon as these Chrysler grants close, we'll be offering the Berkeley County Industrial Park grants later this summer. Those are for more like workforce development type programs. And then we'll have our mini grants for teachers later in the summer, youth and education this fall, and veterans this fall. And Rebecca does a great job managing all of that.
Do you have funds that target the creative arts specifically?
We do. We have some funds that support arts organizations. We have funding categories for arts. Typically, a lot of those are absorbed in other programming, like whether it's an arts program that benefits youth, or it could be for mental health services. Like the arts programs overlap into so many different areas. We do have some designated funds and some specific funds that, or some donor advised funds that typically give to arts organizations. I don't think we have an actual field of interest grant cycle category dedicated just to the arts, but they fall under a lot of our other categories.
You can make that happen, John.
Yeah, you can make it happen.
We've used the word scholarship and grant. Are they interchangeable, or are they different things?
Well, the way we use them typically is a scholarship would be to a student going for an educational program, and a grant would be to a nonprofit organization or to a school doing more broad, benefiting more than one student.
And I had a question going back here a little bit. For a designated fund, you mentioned CASA as an example. So if a person has a sum of money that they want to direct to CASA, why not just write a check to CASA?
Great question. You can do that. And it all depends what your goals are. If you want them to have the money in hand to be able to use however they need right away, that's a great way to go. Where we come in is if someone who wants to not only have an impact now, but for the long term. The idea with us is it's going to be there forever. So it might be a smaller distribution, but it's spread out over the years and it grows. For example, we had an organization that started a designated fund with a small amount of money, and then we had a donor who was interested, who had a donor advised fund with us, who wanted to use her qualified charitable distribution to benefit an organization. She had worked with us, trusted us, and put her whole QCD into that designated fund, or into that agency designated fund. So it's a way that you can attract other donors to help that build, and it's to be there forever.
Will you manage, trying to structure this question, so if, keep picking on CASA, we should probably say fictional organization. So a fictional organization like that gets a donation from somebody's will, and it's a sizable amount of money. Can they hand that money to you on their own behalf and say, here, set up a foundation for us?
Absolutely. So it'd be setting up a fund at our foundation, basically. So it would be setting up an agency fund at the community foundation. So what's great about that is it takes all of the management off of them.
So it's self-serving, but and puts the burden on you.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And we pool that fund in with all of our other funds. We work with our investment advisors to manage it, and we have a great history of growth for our endowment over the years.
We have a question from Jeff Haddix. I'm going to translate. It says, if I set up a donut advised fund, I think maybe voice activation failed him on that one. Donor advised, I think, is what he was hoping to have translated there. Is there a fee to maintain that fund?
Good question. All of our fees, except for scholarship funds, charge a 1% administrative fee, and that's 1% a year. It's divided up with we'll take out 1/12 of 1% each month. For scholarships, it's a 2% administrative fee, just because those are administratively they're a lot more work.
How much control do donors have over the money they give? There's an existing fund. Can I say, here's the money, but under no circumstances can any of my money go to this other thing? Is that?
It depends on what type of fund they set up, honestly. We offer a lot of flexibility. We really want to honor donors' expectations and what their wishes are. We really want to work with them to make sure that, it's because it is for the long term. Technically, when they establish a fund with us, the money is officially the ownership of the community foundation, but depending on what type of fund it is, donors have different levels of involvement with that fund. So, for example, if they wanted to do a designated fund to benefit certain nonprofits, they would designate those nonprofits. If they wanted to do a field of interest, they can specify exactly where that money to go. Like, say, if they wanted to benefit youth programs, but not animal services. That's right in line with what we do. They get to specify where it goes. And with the donor advised fund, they're in control of requesting where the grants go. I can't think of an instance where a donor has requested a fund distribution or a grant to a nonprofit, and we haven't been able to follow through on that. So basically, once they request, if it's a donor advised fund, once they request a grant be made to a nonprofit, our staff does the due diligence to make sure the nonprofit's in good standings. Our executive committee will give it approval, and then our board has final ratification. But we do the executive committee as a first step to get the money out there. Again, we want to try to get the grants out there as quickly as possible.
John, Bonnie and I have the opportunity to work 2 or 3 times with the Community Foundation, and we've come away each time with the sense that, one, the money is professionally managed. It is the staff is exceptionally accommodating and weaving in exactly what we want. It's not a 1-hour process. There's a give and take over probably several days to ensure that exactly how you want your money to be utilized. and there's flexibility. Case in point, Bonnie and I set up this Litter Foundation Fund.
I was just going to ask you about that.
And it worked very well until the folks that were actually receiving most of the money were developing other interests. We're getting so old that we want to do something else. So we were able to transfer the money to something very similar that would give it a different application, but something very similar. So it's the staff is an amazing group to work with, very, very accommodating. And again, I'll come back to the word very professional. You feel that your money is being safeguarded.
Susan, we have about a minute left. What would you like our audience to know about the foundation and how to get in touch with you?
Check out our website and check us out on social media. That's where everything's posted as far as grant opportunities, scholarship opportunities. Our contact information is there. Please feel free to reach out anytime if you have any questions from the giving end or the receiving end. We have staff who works across the board in all areas. Bill, I appreciate your kind comments. We really take those to heart. Thank you.
And there's another word that Susan used much earlier that kind of key to all this, in perpetuity. And the money that you give, is going to be applied to good purposes for many, many, many years down the line, long after Bonnie and I have left the scene and others have left the scene as well, in perpetuity.
Great, thank you.
Good work, Susan.
Thank you.
Susan, thank you for coming in. How would you grade yourself this morning on your return to radio?
This was fabulous. Thank you so much for having me. I'd come back in a heartbeat. Thank you, guys.
I give you high marks.
Thank you.
Is it true that you were the center on your football team in college?
Well, my husband, it was after college. It was, right up when we were first in Chicago. It was a co-ed football league. It's where my husband and I became friends. I was better on defense than offense, honestly, from being critical about myself.
More reaction than action.
Tons of fun, exactly.
And I think the audience should know there's not a single note in front of her.
All that was off the top of her head. Good stuff.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Susan Caperton from the Eastern West Virginia Community Foundation.